everyone, it's Deb Cleveland, your real estate investment expert, and just like I promised, we're back at the whiteboard to go over and look at the potential who's that you might want to consider as you build your real estate investment portfolio, or maybe you have a real estate investment portfolio and you never thought about who it is that you want to serve. And I can tell you the importance of knowing who you want to serve as you become an expert at what it takes to make them happy. And what we all know is that happy tenants makes a happy landlord. And also it really affects your bottom line and your cash flow. Because if you have a happy tenant, chances are they're going to stay with you longer, and we all know the cost of turnover in this business. So let's take a look at some of the potential who's that I've outlined on the board. Students. You've got students as a potential who, furnished short-term housing, welfare recipients, senior citizens, mid-income earners, and potentially artists. So it's just a few of the who's that you may not have thought about. And let me cover a few that I know quite well. Students. I have not rented to seniors, but I know a lot of friends that have. And it's been interesting to see their experience with working with particular demographics. Now, you can imagine how challenging it could be at times. But what I do know is that they have tremendous cash flow because the seniors of the students are used to paying a pretty high tuition for housing on campus. So when they come off campus, they're happy to spend $600 for a single room in a house. So if you have a 4-bedroom house, you might end up with $2,400 worth of income coming in, and maybe your mortgage is only a $70,000 or $80,000 mortgage, and if you do the numbers, it's really juicy. The student base that I am familiar with are grad students, and what I like about grad students is, they've got the partying out of their system and they're ready to focus and buckle down, and they tend to be great tenants, and you really don't see them that much because they're studying like all of the time, and they're responsible and they're quiet. Like, that's been my experience with that tenant. The other that I'm familiar with is furnished housing. Now when you think about that who, and you buy a piece of property, you think about how would you accommodate a high-end, short-term furnished tenant. Well, typically that who is a consultant that's into the area, that's there for a month to 6 months. They usually have a home in another state or another country, and they want the finer things in life. You might get families that are transitioning, or a couple that's transitioning from they've had a home with their family and now they're empty nesters and they're building a home, or they're moving but they need to be accommodated for 3 to 6 months because all of their furnishing went into storage. That's another who that would fit inside of short-term housing, furnished housing. The other who that slips into there is maybe somebody's in for some sort of a medical procedure in your area and they need housing, short-term housing. There could be a divorce when somebody's in transition, or a breakup with a couple. They would need short-term housing. There's many possibilities when you pick this audience, this who. There's challenges with it too because it's a little more difficult to find that client, to find that tenant. The one that I built the bulk of my my portfolio on in the beginning of my investing career was Section 8 welfare recipients. And as I started working with these folks, what I could see was the vast number of them were single women with children. And what I was able to do was I was able to find a product that I knew fit this who, where they would be happy. Again, happy tenants makes a happy landlord. And I would look for properties that had really sufficient bedrooms. They had a great family room so they could gather there. There was laundry hookup in the basement so they didn't have to go outside of the house to do their laundry. Ultimately important for a single gal with children. And they had a backyard, and the house was set back far enough so the mother didn't have to worry about the children running into the traffic. And there were sidewalks also for the children to play in. So That's what I identified when I picked my who, and I became focused and I became an expert in that area. I became such an expert that Section 8, the office that I worked with, would seek me out each time they had a client that was looking for housing that had to be Section 8 and welfare approved. So think about it. Take a look at this list for yourself. Senior citizens, mid-income earners, artists. Like mid-income earners, I love this demographic too because you should never have a vacancy. If you're offering decent housing at an affordable price, you should always be full because there's so many of these folks out here. They are laden with typically heavy debt from schooling, and they're getting ready in the next maybe 3 to 5 years to buy a house. But if you offer them a great product, they will stay with you, and you should never have a vacancy. So, you know your why, you know your who. We're going to be covering knowing your what product that you might consider buying and investing and focusing on, because now you know your who, and it will be a good match for you. Deborah Cleveland, I hope this has been a valuable video for you. And signing off, and bye for now.